Hey friends, I want to jump on in. Today is another day, another video. I want to go ahead and share with you a case study of my very first deal. So at this point, I had been in the industry. I had made a lot of offers, which, by the way, I may go over this in another video another day. But I actually came across one of the offers I made. I have it in an email. And thank God that offer did not go through. It was when I was working at the marina as a property manager or harbor master for the marina. We made myself and an investor who was a tenant at the marina made an offer on the marina, and thank God my first deal was not a commercial property that was a value add situation. So, nonetheless, I am nonetheless, reminiscing of those early days. I was making offers on anything, everything. I remember I was chasing stuff on Civic Source, which for those of you who are local, that is where the tax lien auction stuff. I was just chasing whatever was cheap because I didn't have much of a budget and I didn't have much skill sets, right? So I didn't know. And so anytime I'd hear about anything, I'd go learn about it. And I was trying to make some offers. I was trying to buy some deals. I was not effective. I was making a lot of offers. And so I want to go ahead and I want to show you the first deal that I purchased. Now, for those of you who are just listening, you're going to miss out on this. This is actually from my Fix Your Income workshop I just did recently. And so you're going to actually get to see some information. All right. So um, I ended up buying it all cash. And so let me kind of walk you through that part. So this was my first purchase. I really at this point, I was trying to find a way. I just moved back from the mission field and I was looking for a way to not be the millennial living at home, but I did not have any established credit. I was working a lot, but it was not enough to qualify for a loan. And so, at this point, I remember I was trying to find a nice RV to put in the nice RV park. And even, that was better than rent in my head because rent is dead money, right? Like they say it's dead money. Well, I could at least sell the RV afterwards and get something back, right? While I establish credit and get time on the job to qualify for a loan. Long story short, an opportunity came up. So you'll see here it's a condo. So if you're just listening, you might be missing out on some visuals here, and I'll do my best to explain them. But basically, at the end of the day, I had a family member who was able to gift me some of my inheritance early, and so big deal. Sounds like I'm balling in money, right? Well, let me just tell you, it was a lot of money, but not a lot at the same time. All right, so let's go ahead. This was a condo in Slidell, and what it was is it needed work. It absolutely needed work. It was a little bit of a hoarder situation. Literally, I remember seeing one of the closet doors um was warped, and I opened it and it was just full of like McDonald's trash and things like that. They had carpet going up the stairs and it was like the dog shit all the way up the carpet, all the way up, and they didn't bother to get the stain out. Um remember the guy was using a fryer on the stove and just had mounds and mounds of grease all over, like just caked up. And so it was a hot mess. This guy was someone that the owner was just letting live there. And long story short, the owner was in financial trouble. They owed more than what the property was worth. And so my first purchase was a short sale. And a short sale is when they owe more than what it's worth, both in the loan amount and in the condition. And you basically have to petition the bank to agree to take less than what is owed. And there's nothing short about it except for the price being reduced, right? It is effectively, I bought this property with cash and it still took 5 months to close. When usually you buy with cash, you can close in 2 weeks, right? But it was because of the short sale process with the bank and all the approvals we had to get that it took the 5 months. So let's dive into it. My aunt, who is a real estate agent, heard about my little RV plan and she was like, no, no, no. I think my family saw it, and this could be this can ultimately they were afraid that I was going to get into a bad park, that basically that I was going to be living in a rough part of town and in a park and all this stuff. They're like, no, no, no. So take that for what you will. My aunt had her, who's now her daughter-in-law, was able to go ahead and had owned another condo in the complex, and so she was familiar with it. And so then she learned when this short sale came on the market, she was like, you know, Courtney, she called me up. She said, Courtney, I know you don't love condos because the marina I was working at, we were associated with a condo association that was like living hell. It was just chaos. And she said, look, I know you don't love condos, but you know, your cousin's, soon to be wife owns one here. You should consider it. They're offering it at a discount. It needs a little bit of work. So I remember I went and looked at it. At that point, I did not have the cash. And so at that point, I was like, I'm gonna look at it, and at that point, the family member was gonna give me a loan. And so literally that was going to be a huge part of the process. Was literally, I didn't know, basically it was a private money loan from a family member. So long story short, go and walk it. I had, if you look here on the screen, it was a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 851 square feet condo. The seller's problem was it was a short sale. They owed more than what it was worth. Um, and it was a fixer-upper. It needed work. And then it had a history of facing foreclosure. This guy had money problems for long, long times. So the lead source, again, a real estate agent brought this to me. It was on the MLS. It was a listing as a short sale. So here are the numbers. It was actually a bidding war. And I remember stressing out because I was like, I feel like I had less than money. You know what I mean? Like, and so for there being a bidding war, I was just like, look, I feel like I have pennies. Everyone else has $100 bills, and I had no idea who else I was bidding against. But that's what I remember feeling. I'll be honest, I don't remember what it was worth at the time. I just remember my aunt saying, "Hey, this is a good deal." And so I wasn't too focused on that. Also, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that that was a very important part of this process. Um, I do remember that it could run out for eight hundred, 850, maybe even more, if I decided to move out of it. The HOA fees were $198 a month. Okay, that's important. And so ultimately in the bidding war, I won the bid at $40,100 for $40,100. Again, I facilitated at the bidding war, it was a loan from a family member. During the 5-month process is when it got converted to, we're going to make it your inheritance early. 40,000 is a lot of money. I acknowledge that. At the same time, try to go do something with 40,000. It takes effort, right? This was 10 years ago, and so it was a good deal, a good price. The rehab was around $5,000. So once we closed on the property, the 40,100, I did have to come out of pocket for some closing cost. But the repairs, I remember it took 9 weeks after hours. I was working, 40 to 60 hours a week, and after hours I would go work on this condo. And it took me 9 weeks to get it ready. 90% of the way, and then I moved into it. And this was one where, the Home Depot credit card had a promotion. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able, all I got was money for the acquisition, not for the rehab. And so that's where I was like, all right, I'll figure this out. And so there was a promotion on the Home Depot credit card, and I don't even know how I first learned about it. To be honest, I don't remember that part. But the promotion, which, so meaning they don't have this all year, but it was during a promotional period, that if you opened up the credit card and you put, if you put all your, Home Depot purchases on it, then basically it was 24 months, same as cash, 0% interest. So if I made all those purchases within this short period of time, then I could pay it off in 2 years and it'd be 0% interest. Okay. So if you ever see something like that, know that like you have to be very careful, because some of that, if you go past the 2 years, you can actually get a whole bunch of, sometimes the fine print is that you get back charged interest. Really, really big deal. So I did about $5,000. This was flooring, this was fixtures, this was paint, this was all sorts of different things. The only thing that I paid for out of pocket with some labor. And I think I probably spent about 1,000 in labor outside of this. So and so that though was allowing me to get all my materials, and I did 90% of the work myself. I'd have a brother-in-law come show me how to lay flooring. He showed me how to do, 10, 15%, and then I finished the rest. Just so I could learn the skill. And so again, 9 weeks after work, right? I'd go in there and I'd, lay down the flooring, I'd change out the fixtures, I'd paint the cabinets, I'd paint the walls. My dad came and helped me, and we did a repair on the water heater. He brought the soldering gun, and we did a repair. I had a uncle who knew electricity, and so, the electrical side. So he came and helped me fix where there was like some shorts within the electrical side. Various different things like that. So it was mostly cosmetics, but that can go a long way. And so at that point, I was living in it. So at that point, I was living in a free and clear property. I still had a W-2. Okay. I was working at the marina as a manager. And so eventually, this was meant to be offset, basically me going to live, me going to rent somewhere, right? Obviously, I still had the 198 a month and the HOA dues and property taxes and insurance. So at the same time, I ended up, this was a live-in flip. I lived in it for like 6 years, and then it allowed me to live below my means. It allowed me to, at that time, really save money. And then I eventually sold it. So during that time, though, I did get a home equity line of credit on it. So this was the only time in my career in 10 years I ever went to a bank and successfully got a loan. Because I had a W-2, because I had a free and clear property, I went and and it was appraised for 85,000, and I was allowed a $60,000 home equity line of credit, and it was good for 10 years. And I don't remember the rate, if it was at prime or a little bit above prime. But what happened was I actually used that line of credit. So this was deal number one. I used that line of credit like a credit card, right? So if you utilize all 60, you can't use it until you pay that down some, right? Same like a credit card. And so that is where I use that on deals 2, 3, and 4. And so there is a level there that keep that in mind. Is this deal, even though I was still living in it, because I got that line of credit, I was able to do some other deals during that time. Um, all right. Now in 2022, I sold this deal um for 86,000. So you remember I've been to it for 45, so I sold it for 86,000. Let me just show you something. I I gave it away in at 80, the 86. I would think market would be like 90 to maybe 95, but we had in 2021 we had just had a hurricane, so the actual HOA was in a long process of doing exterior renovations for the hurricane damage, and that kind of spooked buyers and stuff like that. So like that the fees would go up, all that. And so what I did was I actually gave a little bit of discount just to be able to move on. And this is me as someone in 2022. I believe I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. I know this industry. And y'all, in 2023, it came to my attention that the dude who I sold it to, by the way, he went in and he let me see. Let me stop my share. Let me see if I can show you. I'm gonna show you some photos. All right. No, it's not solding. All right. Let me pull up a few of these photos and I'm gonna show you. So again, if you're just listening in, you might miss out on being able to see this. Let me find the kitchen. don't think I see kitchen photo. Um, ultimately, I went ahead and ultimately, let's see. Let's see. Let me find a kitchen one because I want you to see the difference. Okay. So let me go back to share. Again, if you're watching this, you can see a little bit more. All right. So for those of you who are watching, um, basically you've got this is what the kitchen looked like here. So basically I painted the cabinets white, painted the walls, did new flooring. I did have all white appliances, but that was too par for the complex. Everywhere else had carpet, so I had nicer flooring. And then Formica, it was clean and nice. All right, so let me show you an example of what the dude did when he bought it for me. And I'm gonna say this. I honestly do not know how he sold it. It was like there was a boom in it, which is crazy. All right. So if you're looking here now, he went in, did all brand new cabinet, and he made them to where they were bigger. He did crown molding, he did granite, he did a new faucet, he did stainless steel, he did a new fixture, and he did new flooring. So this dude who was like a contractor was like, "Oh, the flooring's fine, but I don't like it." And so he did it to his face. He did the backsplash and everything. Well, the market boomed, and son of a gun sold it for 138. I sold it to him for 86. Granted, he put money into it. Let's just say he's all into it for 100. He sold it for 138. You know what? Good for him. I'll just say that. Good for him. I made money. He made money. It was the craziest little boom I saw in that condo complex. Never would have predicted it. There was no comps. I don't really know how it appraised and how those comps got set, but it is what it is. And so that was something, again, I about fell out my chair when I saw that. And it's just a reminder, even if you are heavily in this industry, heavily into the market, you can't predict what the market's going to do. Last little thing I'm going to say is, so when I sold this, it was my primary residence, and I used Section 121 of the IRS code, where there's tax-free gains when you live in a place for 2 out of the last 5 years, up to 250,000 as a single person, up to 500 as a married couple. I just use this benefit. All the money I made, the profit I made from this deal, usually when it's a flip, you're 30% or more has to go to Uncle Sam. I was able to do it tax-free. So all right, guys, that is an example of my first deal. It taught me a ton. It really bit me in the sense of like I made more than what my annual salary was in this one deal. So it was one of those things. I was getting paid very low at that time. But it was one of those things where I was like, whoa, and I can do this again. And I didn't even know what I was doing. Right. And so that was really sent me on my journey to learning real estate and getting my next deals. And so that was my first deal, live and flip. A live and flip, and call it a house hack, call it whatever. But hopefully you guys enjoy that. Tune in for tomorrow's video. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.